everyone. Welcome back to A Mother's Love.
Welcome, welcome.
Miss you guys. It's been a whole 2 weeks. And we are back here to talk, love each other, and sometimes even cry with each other. But today we're going to be talking about, again, I'm so used to being with you guys that I just think that
no need for
introduction. Already know who I am. Okay, I am Ernestine Battles, and this is my co-host and daughter, Natalie Battles.
Hey, y'all.
And we are here, as I said, from A Mother's Love. And we are here to help love on each other and to see what we can do to help ourselves and our children as we grow together.
And as always, I'm on the comments, so y'all make sure y'all come on in them rooms down there with them fingers working. You're a part of the conversation. Join on in, okay?
And give us some subjects, okay? We want to know what you want to know that we can help each other. So if you have a question or a topic that you would like us to do on the show, just type it in the comments and let us know. And we will be glad to bring up that topic or answer any questions that we can. As we always said, all the way from the beginning, we are not perfect. And we do not know everything. But together, what I know and what you know and what somebody else knows can help us all.
Absolutely. And it takes a village to raise a child. So we're trying to be your village. Come on in. Don't feel embarrassed. You can ask whatever you need to ask. It does not matter. If you want to be anonymous, you can be anonymous. You can hit us in our inbox on A Mother's Love or individually, Natalie Battles Reed or Ernestine Battles. If you have a question, comment, or concern that you want us to bring up for other mothers or fathers or parents or grandparents to address, it's okay. We don't have to say who you are. You don't always have to drop it down in the comments. But we do love seeing you guys comments and conversing with us. So come on in the room.
Yes. Come on in this room. Well, we've been getting together for a good while now, and every one of these shows, I'm just loving the conversation. I love how we just sometimes cannot get off of here because we're constantly talking about the things that's going on in our life, in our world, with our children, with ourselves, husbands, wives, grandchildren. This is a show for everyone. I want to stress that again. It is for fathers, uncles, aunties, grandmas, granddaddies, mamas, papas. It is for us all. Because nowadays, as we say all the time, it takes a village to raise our children this day. It takes a village. It was one upon a time. That is what happened back in the South, back in the olden days, where everybody helped everybody raise a child. They looked out for each other. And this is something that we have to do today. We have to look out for each other. We got to look out for each other's child. When we know our village, when we know our neighborhoods, when we know our children, then when we see something strange happening to one of them, we can stop it. We can say, "Hey, Tommy, who that you with?" And if Tommy don't know who that he with, he gonna tell you because he trusts you, and you can get him out that situation. So we have to look out for each other.
And what are we going to be talking about today?
Our topic today is about how we can Was it spoil? How we can
Disable
our children. Yeah, I couldn't remember that right quick. How we could disable our children by the things that we do.
In which way? All the ways. So what's interesting about this topic is that when you think about how we can disable our children, that might come off initially like, hold on, what you mean I can disable my child? You definitely can. So we can hinder, we can use that word if you're more comfortable with that as well. We can hinder or disable our child or our children in a few different ways. One is over parenting, and the second one is under parenting. So it's really important that when we're looking at making sure we're producing these amazing human beings and preparing them to live a life without us, however you want to look at that, that's the truth. They have to grow up and they have to pay their own bills and live on their own. And then one day we won't be here anymore. So we have to prepare our children to live a productive life without us. How do we do that? When also maintaining love, when also, not throwing them to the wolves, right? And a lot of times we shelter our children from things because we're saying, oh, we just don't want to. We were just watching the show just the other day. And the whole time the show was on, would you tell them how you feel about this show? Because she's still watching it. I stopped watching it, but she's still watching the show. Tell me about the show.
What's the show?
Oh, okay. I got you. So we were watching the show just the other day. And it's a supernatural type of show, right? But the girl had just turned 18. And apparently when she turned 18, she gets these powers. And she had a protection spell on her. Protection spell wears off at 18. But the whole time, this mother had 18 years to prepare this girl for this world that she was about to walk into on her 18th birthday.
And she never did.
But she waits until her 18th birthday. And the girl is busy. At this point, she's like, I'm going to go out with my friends. I can't talk right now. And she keeps letting the girl leave the house knowing that she's about to enter this magical world and the protecting spell is gone now because she's 18. And sure enough, by the time she make it home from the club, she like, Ma, there's crazy stuff happening, and I don't know what's going on. And she like, all right, look, baby, demons, warlock, all this stuff, I gotta go. You're doing your children a disservice. Or if you guys seen Bridgerton.
That's the one I was talking about.
Spoiler alert. If y'all saw Bridgerton, we're going to give y'all examples from television shows and movies that you know to make this real for you. If you seen it, spoiler alert, pause now. Or fast forward if you watching this later. But in Bridgerton, the girl get married, and she had no idea what sex was about. She had no idea, and she was upset at her mother later because she like, you got me out into the world. You ain't tell me nothing. She knew nothing of what she needed to do, or the logistics of it.
She had done it. She didn't know nothing.
She didn't prepare her at all. And so this is the type of things we're talking about. Just in some instances where we're saying you can disable or hinder your child by not giving them the real, by not
giving them the information that they need to live in the world today.
Even when we look at, because it is Black History Month,
yes, it is.
We look at the society that we live in and the systematic racism and institutionalized racism that's embedded in everything from jobs to the hospital to walking down the street, walking in the park, like all of the institutionalized racism that's in there, right? And we're not telling our children that these things exist from an early age. Because why? We want to shelter them. We don't want to tell them the truth. We don't want to tell them about it.
And some of us don't even think that we're still in that era of time. We're not going to talk about racism like we did last week.
Not as in depth. Go back and watch that show, though. And holler at me if you want to talk about it.
This was a good example because we don't feel that we in that time where racism it still exists. Oh, we know now. But it was a point in time when we did not think that it was still like racism. I'm going to school, I'm working a job, I can buy a car, I got a house, I can do this, I can do that. I ain't never got stopped by the police,
But that's why it's called institutionalized racism, because it's embedded in everyday life and everyday practices and organizations, so much so that we get used to it. and we don't even know it's something that we need to change or fight because it's just always been that way.
Yeah, and then it's another thing about the way we can enable our children is that sometimes we may have disabled children. I'm going to say in different ways, okay? And we treat them like a baby and we want to do everything for them, that sometimes we cannot do that. We have to teach them how to do some things on their own. That's how they're going to learn. You know, we can't hold them in the shelter like they're a baby. We have to teach them just like you would teach a regular child. You know, you have to teach them how to chew. You got to teach them how to eat solid foods. You got to teach them how to be potty trained. You got to teach them. It may take longer to teach them how to do something depending on the ability of the child. Some may never learn, but if you can constantly try to teach your child to be better in some ways, it may help them to learn a little more than what they knew before.
And I know as parents it can be scary preparing our children to live in a world where they have to face different things, whether it be racism or just financially providing for themselves or whatever it may be, especially if our children may be disabled or have different ailments like autism or depression even. Some people have different emotional issues that hinder them from doing things like everybody else would. And so we tend to coddle them a little bit more. And not saying that we shouldn't give them the special attention that they need, but there's a difference from giving them what they need and then hindering them from figuring out how to do it on their own.
And I'm sorry to cut across you, but not just even our disabled children, but our regular children, we have tendency to doing the same thing to them.
Absolutely.
You know, and we, as we say all the time, we're trying to grow these children into adults that's got to go out on their own. And if we're not teaching them that they have to do certain things, then we're holding them back. Let's say holding them back instead of disabling them. You know, if you think that's a harsh word. We're holding them back. Regardless of what their problem may be, we're holding them back when we don't teach them how to grow up and be independent on their own.
Even when you look at it, I think we look at children, especially because they're children, especially when they're babies, right? We get used to holding them. We get used to feeding them. We get used to coddling them, right? Because they're our little babies. They're so cute. We don't want to let them go, okay? That's a real life thing. Totes adorable babies are. But they have to grow up. So I think a lot of times we look at children like, oh, they don't know how to do that yet, so we do it for them. But if you step back for a second, they'll show you that they already know how to do it. Sometimes whether you taught it to them or not, because they're always watching, right? They learn from us. And so it's very important that we make sure that we give them the opportunity to try. No matter what it is. If it's as little as feeding themselves, holding their own bottle, going to the bathroom. A lot of people, when it comes to potty training, we hinder our children and stunt their growth with that. And then educationally, we don't want to teach them certain things because we think it's above them. Teach it to them while they're learning. They can grasp it easier than when they get older. I'm working on multiplication and division with my 2-year-old, and he gets the concepts because he's already learning how to count. So adding some and taking some away and dividing some ain't that big of a deal because he's already learning the numbers. We don't have to wait to teach them things. We want to give them, again, the best start possible. Don't put in your mind what they can't do. See what they can do, and then help them get the rest. I think that's the mindset that we have to look at when it comes to preparing our children on all folds. Again, whether it be preparing them to live in this life as far as racism and injustices that are going on educationally, the food they eat, we have to make sure that we fully give them the opportunity to try it. I believe it was DL.
Hey, Early.
Hey, we see you guys. Thank you, guys. We see you guys coming on in the room, and we appreciate you. And feel free to drop those comments down below. Any questions you may have, any topics that you want us to discuss, drop those down below. If you just want to say, hey, y'all. But I believe it was D.L. Hughley. We were watching Black Love, if I'm not mistaken. You guys may have heard me mention that show before. It's a great show that talks to couples about black love and the different things that come and goes along with black love. But he has a son that is actually mentally disabled. I believe it's autism, but I'm not 100% sure on that. But he mentions how, though he has a disablement, he prepares him to live life. So he teaches him skills. He teaches him how to do these different things, right? And one day, he needed to do something on his own. And he told him, like, Dad, I got it. And he said he had to step back out of the way and let him do it. And sure enough, he did it the way he taught him to do it. It's at that point when it comes, because we told you it can be over-parenting and it can be under-parenting, right? So when you're preparing them as parents, we got to realize that we did our job. Hey. We have to realize that we did our job and step back to let our children actually do what we taught them to do. I catch myself doing it with Jaleel all the time, like, and I'm like, nope, let them try. Let them try. Because I'm not going to always be there.
Let them try all the time. I'll be like, don't let them try.
That's why I parent, it sounds different. Because I want him to be able to do things on his own. And you can't lie, he's flourished because of it. That baby reading, that baby writing, that baby counting, that baby sounding that word. Like, and he knows how to, can you help me with this? Boy, if you take too long, he going to figure it out how to do it on his own, okay?
Right. He be like, I need help. And once you just show him, he don't need no more help. He be like, okay.
You show him, and he got it. And that's what we want our kids to do. It's too many, and this is the under-parenting part. Because the over-parenting is like, okay, I'm going to show you, I'm going to show you, I'm going to show you, I'm going to show you. You know what? I'm just going to do it because that's the Black woman anthem, okay?
Oh, right. And we do that because you get mad at them because they won't take so long. And I think they know you get mad at them because they won't take so long.
You know what? I'm just going to do it myself.
And then you start doing it yourself.
And they like, cool, I ain't got to do it. Kids are smart and they pick up on things real fast, okay? If I tell Jaleel to clean up his room, I mean it. I'm not doing it. Clean up your room. Okay, if I sit there, you need me to sit in your face, I'll sit right here and watch you clean it up indirect. Okay, you missed one over there. All right, and now he's to the point where I might have to teach him how to undo what I did because he a little OCD. He be like nice and neat, and he won't stop until that pal is perfect. And I'm like, okay, sometimes it's not gonna be perfect, baby, but that's better than the alternative, right? So sometimes we can overparent because we don't want to pull back, and we also see how that affects people. When we all probably know this story or know someone or live through it ourselves, where you got the overbearing parents that don't allow the children to go out the house. They don't want them to potty. They don't want them to have friends. They can't go to the movies. They can't do nothing. As soon as that person graduates from high school and go to college, and they off on their own.
They lay for you. But right now, we're in the pandemic. Don't let them go out.
Don't let them go out right now.
Don't let them have no company else.
Not right now. But in general, those strict parents, when those kids, I've seen it happen, when those kids from the strict household get out of the house, as soon as they get out the house, they turn it up. I've been in college with them, and you're like, whoa, Ma, you want to slow down a bit? Hey, son, you might. And they don't end up coming back the next semester because they partied the whole semester away.
I had an incident like that. My car I didn't have my car. Something had happened to my car. So my Chanel, which is my oldest child, she had to be about 10 or 11. And Carlisa, they used to go to a girls club at the Y on 63rd and Dorchester. And we lived on 63rd and Vernon, which wasn't but a few blocks, about 4 blocks up. And they get off and walk right there to the thing. And so my car wasn't running. I had 2 other kids at home. I can't be taking them on the bus and back and forth, you know. So my niece said, Sting, her name is Precious Ellaby. She said, Sting, they big enough to catch that bus. Right there on 63rd, you can see them get on the bus, and they can call you as soon as they get out in this place, and they can call you when they're on their way back. She said, you better let them kids go and do some stuff, or they gonna get wild when you let them out. And so I said, okay, I'm gonna let them catch this bus now. So I watched them to that bus stop, and they got on that bus, and they called me as soon as they got in, and they called me when they got out, and walked right to the house. So I was scared. Ooh, I was scared.
Scary.
But I had to give them the opportunity to learn how to do stuff like that, because when we was that age, we was going everywhere by ourselves. But things have changed. They have changed since I was younger. And they have changed even since they was younger. Because now, you know, you know, so much happened, I don't even know if I want them to go catch the bus. But if that was the only alternative, we have to let them be able to go catch the bus on their own and stuff like that.
And I also know adults who still to this day, because they were so sheltered, don't know how to get around. Like, without an Uber or a ride. Like, they don't know how to get around. They don't know the streets. They don't know the buses. And they've lived in the city their whole lives. And they don't know how to get around without, luckily now, we got Ubers and Lyfts everywhere. But they don't know how to take public transportation.
Me either, let me tell you. I got another story. I had to be about 14. I think I was about 14 years old, and I went down south. Now, I can ride all the way to Columbus, Georgia on the bus by myself. And I could not get from the bus station to 63rd and University. And I was trying to take the way home that my father had showed me, and I kept catching the wrong L going in the other direction. I had to call all the way back down south to my great-great-grandma, and she had to call my auntie, and they had to call somebody in Chicago to come pick me up and take me home. But from that day on,
Don't trust your kids that much.
I said, I want to learn how to get everywhere in Chicago, and I can get on every side of Chicago right now. And right after then, it was no stopping me after then, you know. So don't be like me and wait till you're 15 years old or 14 to learn how to get from downtown to your home on 63rd Street.
And
Okay.
and these are safety things too. What if you can't go with them and they gotta go get somewhere right away? Or you know, what if they only know from point A to point B, and then they end up somewhere else and then they stuck, no phone, no nothing.
Sometimes they don't listen, cause
Sometimes they don't listen.
my children was drove around in a car most of the time when they got a certain age.
Mm-hmm.
So I would ask the question: if you had to get home from here, how would you get there? I don't know.
I wouldn't know the answer. It would be me.
I said, if you got to go to school from here, how would you get there? I don't know. I said, y'all can't be saying I don't know. You look and see where you at all times. I don't care where you driving or you on the bus or you walking. You need to look and see where you at and how to get places.
But the thing is, where you were saying that some parents don't even say that, and I think a lot of the things that are survival or things that our children will need to know outside of us kind of slips through the cracks because parents, we got so much on our minds. We got so many things that we do, especially single moms. Like, you doing it all alone. Like, it's hard. You gotta work. You gotta pay the bills. You gotta go grocery shopping. You gotta cook the groceries. You gotta feed the kids. You gotta bathe the kids. You gotta put the kids in bed. You gotta make sure they good to school. It's a lot, that you're doing as parents, single fathers, single grandparents out there, whatever it is. It's hard with a partner too sometimes. So it's a lot that can happen. So this isn't like downplaying you as a parent if you're not doing these things, or if this is you that we're talking about. This is a word of advice from our perspective, saying that you still got time to change.
I just told you I did the same thing, so I can't be down
Right.
with nobody.
You
I just told you what I didn't do.
So it's not belittling you or anything like that. It's just saying, hey, now that this is brought to your attention, what are some small things that you can do to shift to maybe give your children a little more freedom? And we also know that you're grown and you gonna do what you want to do with your children. We wholeheartedly understand that as well. But one of my favorite sayings was, buddy, you're supposed to do better. So start to think about, and we can kind of give you some examples of some things, like how you can slowly incorporate it into your life, into your children's life, so that it can be things that won't hinder them. We can prepare them to live a life outside of us. Can I go first?
Yeah.
Mothers, hear me. Hear me, please. Hear me. Hear me. This is for my mothers out there with sons. Hear me. Hear me. Hear me good. Okay? Mothers with sons and daughters, but specifically sons. Stop sending your sons out here in the world not knowing how to fend for themselves. Okay? Teach that boy, as you do that young lady, or as you should that young lady, how to cook. My 2-year-old be in the kitchen with me right now, seasoning food and stirring, splashing stuff everywhere, but he learned it. Okay? You hear me talking to you? Teach him how to cook, teach him how to clean, how to wash clothes, how to iron clothes, how to hang them up and fold clothes.
How to get a job.
How to get a job, how to build a resume. As your children are growing, these are skills we have to teach them. How to go from point A to B, even if you have a car, not in the midst of COVID, okay, when things get a little bit better. Go get on the bus with them. So, okay, look, if this is where you want to go, or this is the school you're going to, you want to go on your own, let me take you. This is how we're going to go. You got to pay attention when you get, this is your stop. Here's the map of the bus route, okay? Figure that thing out. Give them a bus card. Tell them, or a venture card now. Go tell them ride and figure it out a couple times. And then meet them at the point they supposed to be at.
Yeah, because we had Super Sunday, baby. And Super Sunday was when you paid $1 and I think 25 cents for all-day transfer. And we would go all over the city of Chicago on that one-day transfer. Sunday was the day to go travel.
Wherever you needed to go. Wait till Sunday. We had the 1 days and the 7 days and the 30 days. Right? As much you want to transfer, just put your little accordion midway through, you get another 2 little bus ride. We ain't damn got that no more, y'all.
No, because when I came up, you used to transfer it. I think it was as many times as you can use it, and that you had to use it. But then they came up with you can only use it twice.
It was 3, wasn't it? It was the first ride, then you put the cord or something in, and then you get 2 more?
No, the first ride. I'm talking about the transfer. Mm-hmm. You can only use the transfer twice. Mm-hmm. And then, I don't even think you can use the transfer but one time, and you can only use it, what?
Within like 30 minutes to an hour or something crazy like that. What? Maybe you be on the bus for an hour. What? But anyway, teach them skills that they will need. Like, for real, y'all, this is for real. I know I say I'm going to let you go. Mamas, do your son a service. Don't do him a disservice. There's too many young men out here that don't know how to be men. Now, I'm not saying that to say if, the father is not in the household or anything like that, but they don't know what a man is supposed to do. Whether that is finding a male role model or mother saying, hey, do unto me as you would do unto your wife. All right? You going to cook, you going to clean, you going to pay bills. If I'm giving you allowance, how much of that money going to go to this? Look, I'm teaching you how I'm going to teach my son. I'm just letting y'all know some insight, okay? If you do get an allowance, all right, a portion of that is going to savings. A portion of that you need to know how to manage your money, son. We're going to figure that out right now, right here in this house. So you ain't out here in the world trying to figure some stuff out and falling on your face.
That's not just your sons. That's your
daughters
also.
too. I said that in the beginning, but for real, these men help them. Because it seems like a lot of women are raising their girls to pick up the slack of the men. Instead of raising your women to pick up the slack, raise your men to step up. My personal opinion. But raise both of your children equally with these skills. Skip the gender roles. Both, because what is that? Both children need to know how to live on their own. Period. Keeping a clean house, taking care of themselves, hygiene, moisturizing. That's not just for women. That's for men too. How to take care of yourself, how to fold your clothes, how to make sure your feet don't stink. All of these things are very important, and we have to teach our men and our women, our young men and our young women, to be, again, self-sustainable, for lack of better words, to live on their own and make sure they can take care of themselves without us. We, like that lady in that movie we were talking about a few minutes ago, we wait until they're 18 to be like, oh, wait, let me teach you this real quick while you walking out the door on the way to college. Hold on, let me teach you how to. It's too late at that point. As soon as they old enough to understand, you should be teaching.
Start teaching.
Absolutely. Go ahead. What's your point? This was my point. I might have some more later, but go
When
ahead.
she her point started so long, I probably forgot what I was going to say.
Y'all know I be talking. Go
Well,
ahead.
anyway, like I was saying, you teach your little young ladies as well as your young men how to be both. Okay,
How to do it all.
how to take care of themselves. I taught my son how to cook, so but when I cook, he always say, it's so good. He cooked it, But you have to teach them how to do a little of everything. Women have to learn how to do some things that males do. That way, if they're not with a male at that particular time, that they don't have to sit back waiting on somebody else to come do what they have to do.
And also, they know what a man is supposed to do. We out here allowing a lot of things, just sending our kids out here to work, because we don't know what that looks like for a man to be a man and stand on his own, because we used to doing it all. So while you teaching these things, drop some of them bars too. Again, gender roles is here nor there, because it depends on the relationship, of course. Live your life. But I think there should also be that we're not teaching our children what to look for in a mate. I've heard from men that are extraordinary men. They cook, clean, they give gifts, all types of amazingness. But their mother raised them to be an upstanding, amazing man, but never showed him what type of woman to look for. So he fell for the okie doke. And we doing the same thing for our girls. We raising them to be cook, clean, get it together. They amazing females or women, young women, ladies, queens, goddesses. But we're not teaching them to look for that king God. You feel me? So we have to also teach them in that way as well. I'm sorry, but that just sparked me. Go ahead.
Okay, this is the Natalie Show.
It's
Okay.
a lot. It's a lot.
So, anyway, we have to teach them both. I have a friend, and when she didn't have her man around or something, she couldn't do certain things. She was like, "Nah, I can't fix that. Nah, I gotta wait till him do that. Nah, I can't take that outside." And I was saying, you better get up and do what you need to do. Because you're not always going to have somebody around. And you can't always wait on somebody to do certain things for you.
Absolutely.
So you have to do it on your own. And this is what we teach our women and we teach our males the same thing. I told my son, you cannot look for a woman to cook for you. You may not be with a woman. So what you going to do in the house?
Eat ramen
Start,
noodles.
right. Start, go to the fast food restaurant like they do, and get something to eat. But you might want a real meal, so get in there and cook it.
And the type of woman you looking for might want a man that can cook a meal.
Right. So we learn it from not just the cooking and knowing what a man or whatever it is, because we starting down here as children. Mm-hmm. We don't want to wait till they get up here, because there's not no teaching them once they get a certain age.
Oh, baby.
You got to start teaching them as a child how to grow up and be that what a young man's supposed to be or a young lady's supposed to be at. Because we got some young ladies, baby. I tell y'all all the time, I worked in the school system, and I seen some young ladies that did not treat themselves as young ladies. And I had to remind them, you are a young lady, and a young lady never acts like that. You know.
That's
so,
that village.
So we have to teach them and constantly, it ain't gotta be no, don't you do this because you is gonna be the man and the, no, you politely teach them. You're gonna be a man, and this is what you do for your ladies. You open the door, you help them with, they got bags and stuff. You know, little things, just little things that you implant in their head. And us being strong black women, because they say we're strong black women, sometimes because we had to be strong black women,
all the time.
we get those men sometimes that want to do different things for us.
Speak your truth, understand.
And we fail to let them do some things for us because we so used to doing them on our own. We so used to doing them. It's not nothing wrong with you doing them when you ain't got them with you. But when you got one that wants to open the door for you, let them open the door.
Let that man.
If you got one that wants to sit you in the car first, let them sit you in the car. If you got one that want to take you to the store and you was going to the store anyway, and he said, I got this, let him get that. You know, because I was that woman. You know, I did stuff all the time on my own. I got a friend, and I would go to the store, and I'd be pulling out my stuff to pay for my... It was like, no. You come in the store with me. That means whatever you get, I'm going to buy it. And I had to say,
Right?
I had to say,
What they do?
Okay.
Come on here.
So, but that's all part of being a woman and a man. We all got different roles, but we want to train them up while they're young, that when they get to that age, they will know the things that they should be doing.
And I think this is very important right here too, is it's a lot of people, and when we say about hindering or disabling our children from either doing, not teaching, or over teaching and not giving them space to do, right? We look at the world, and we look at the world and we get disheartened. We like, man, these kids is crazy, man, it's so rough out here.
But why?
But why though? We are raising these people who are going into the world and behaving the way that they are. So if we just took the steps of raising our children to be the kind of people that we want to see in the world, then the world will be a better place because we are populating the world, right? Now, we can't speak for everybody, but you can speak for you and yours. Because y'all already heard the story. If not, y'all go back and watch that episode. Because if I ever, that was my mama. That was my mother. That was Ernestine. Yes, it was. That was my mother. If she saw a child doing anything they wasn't supposed to do, wearing pajamas, walking down the street, if I ever, and we already knew to the point when we saw it, we was like, hold on. If we beat her to it, because we knew she was going to say it. But it was funny, and we laughed then and we laugh now, but it also taught us, like, that ain't what you do, okay? But she also led by example and showed us what we do, how we lead with love, how we carry ourselves, how to do different things. I also told the story how she was out there changing oil in front of the church with her Sunday's best and stilettos on. Come on, this is my mother. She be under the table fixing stuff to this day. Plastering the walls and all types of stuff. Because these are life skills. This isn't a he, she skill. These are life skills that our children need to know. So raise the people that we want to see in the world. And then on another note, as far as relationships, because this go to people in the world. I know we ain't trying to think about our kids being in no relationships and all that stuff. We ain't trying to think about that. I understand. I get you. But that don't mean they ain't going to be. Okay? Hear this out. If you out here in the world and you like dead, the dating game is crazy. Just like we look at the world like, man, it's rough out here. Robbing people, all this stuff. If you out in the world and you in a dating game like, man, these people ain't got no sense. They don't know they supposed to pay for a date. If you invite somebody on a date, they don't know, like, these skills that you see are lacking. Mold that young man and that young woman into adequate datas in the world. Help and bless somebody else's child, so they ain't gotta look at your child and be like, oh, ain't nobody teach them nothing? Because then they're gonna look at you. You the next person they looking at because you raised them. I'm just saying.
I told mine. That remind me, because I used to tell them that. I said, if you get a man or woman and they said your mama ain't taught you nothing, you tell them, oh no, I can't allow my mama like that. If she taught me, I just ain't listen. You better say I just ain't listen. You better not say she ain't taught me nothing.
Because there's too many cases out here where you can pinpoint.
But this
where their mama stepped in, or their daddy stepped in, you like, oh, it's your fault. Oh, okay. All right.
Because sometimes we let our children get away with a lot of things that they shouldn't be getting away with.
Mm-hmm.
Because the quote unquote, we love them. But if you love them, you will teach them what is right, no matter if it's them doing it or not. Right is right and wrong is wrong. And one thing I refuse to do is uphold my child if they're doing something wrong. Why? Because that's on me. Mm-hmm. That's on me. If I let them get away with doing something wrong, that means that when they go out into the world, they're going to look for somebody else to think they're going to get away with something wrong when they do something wrong. And that ain't right. Because, baby, when you do it wrong, when you in the streets, you go to jail.
Or worse.
Or worse. So we don't want that to happen. We want to teach them, even as little ones, when they do something wrong, that is wrong. And mama not going to uphold you because you did something wrong.
And if there's consequences to your actions.
Yeah.
I tell my 2-year-old all the time, he do something. And a lot of people, they don't want to be that mean parent. What you say all the time, they don't want to be their parents, right? They want to go the different route than their parents with. And you don't have to hit your child. You don't have to cuss out your child. You don't have to abuse your child or be hostile towards your child when they do something wrong. You can correct them with love. Mm-hmm. And so one thing that me and my son, we sit down and we talk. He get his time out. Afterwards, we talk about it. Because a lot of times, too, these kids don't know what they doing wrong. We just be big mad and we send them to the room or we whoop them or whatever, take away stuff. And they like, hey, what did I do? They don't even know what they did. So we talk about it. Do you know why you went to the corner? And if I started the conversation a different way, he'd be like, you know why I went to the corner? He asked me. Okay, tell me why you went to the corner. Because I didn't do. And so now I know that he knows what he did wrong so that he can work on correcting that. And I tell him
today he did something today, and he came back and he apologized after he went to the point and thought about what he did. Come back and apologize. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have did that. But that's because that's how she's training him up.
Accountability.
Even when you wrong, you got to be accountable for what you do. You know, and it's not going to be that I'm going to accept you being wrong because I'm your mother or I'm your father.
But I'm going to check you.
I'm going to let you know the things that you did is wrong, and I'm not looking for you to do that anymore. Absolutely. And again, teaching our children to apologize when they do stuff, it helps them also because when we got a child that's unapologetic, they're not really learning, you know, that I might have did it wrong, but I'm not going to say I did it wrong. You know what I'm saying? That's leading to a whole different thing. So my thing is we get to be loving, but we have to be stern in some things as we teach our children day by day.
And sometimes you got to let go.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just gotta let the rain go. We want to hold them tight because we love them and we want to shelter them and we want to take care of them and we just.
But we're not gonna be there all the time. And you know this is a sad thing to say, but our babies are leaving us earlier and earlier, and in some instances we're leaving them. So who is gonna teach your child if you're not here? Are they going to teach them like you want them to be taught? or they're going to just let them go by the side, the wayside. So teach them all you can teach them while you have the chance, that they may learn. And when they see stuff that's wrong, or when they get ready to do stuff, they think back on what my mama said.
Absolutely.
Regardless if you hear or not, what my mama said. Like what
my dad said.
Oh, yeah.
Or grandma,
Or
auntie.
auntie. Right. Where did I get this knowledge from? Mm-hmm. I know a lot of grandparents, by being in the educational field, I know a lot of grandparents that were trying to raise their grandchildren because maybe the mother was sick, or they were on drugs, or some of them had died. Some of them went to prison. It doesn't matter what the situation is. They're not in their parents' life. And sometimes it's hard on this grandparent that's trying to raise them, because they have hurt feelings and things because of what may have happened to their parents. Regardless if they pass, if they sick, no matter what they sick of, if they died, if they're in prison, they're not around their child. So what did you instill in that child? That's why I said start as a baby and work its way up. Instill some good stuff in that child's life.
Absolutely. And remember, again, because I want to reiterate this, it can be over-parenting and it can be under-parenting. So it's really important that you teach them as much as you can teach them, but then you give them the opportunity to do it on their own. You can literally stunt their growth. If you tie their shoe until they 10, you think they're going to know how to tie their shoe? No, you got to show them and then let them figure it out. Let them do it. Right? And then if you're not showing them at all, you think they're going to know how to tie their shoe? No. So it's under-parenting and over-parenting. We have to make sure that we find that sweet spot in the middle as a parent. We allow them the space to grow and to learn and to become who they're going to be, because we also don't want our children to just be us. They came here to do something different. We have to teach them as much as we can teach them from what we know in our experience, but also leave them room to decide who they want to be and what it is that they were sent here to do. Mm-hmm. So it's a balance of not being too lackadaisical, but also giving them the tools they need to flourish in this life as an individual. And we can incorporate this with small things. If you want to make sure that your child knows how to cook, have them sit with you in the kitchen. My son been sitting with me in the kitchen since he was first sat in the house shift, watching me cook, and I was telling him and explaining to him like it's a cooking show what I'm doing. Until now he old enough to stand on the chair and start throwing some stuff in the pot too. Make sure you incorporate that. If it's, again, if you start late in the game and you got a teenager, once, life gets back to some type of normal, start teaching them outside the house what you want them to know. If it's riding a bus, but start teaching them inside the house. What is a relationship? What is a healthy relationship? What's an unhealthy relationship? How do you treat someone? How do you talk to someone? Are you holding yourself accountable for your actions? You can start with the smallest things, but they will all add up to being an amazing human being, and that's our end goal.
And let me say this, even as teenagers, they get older and we think we can release them because they're older. But sometimes they want the guidance and the camaraderie with their parent. They want that. So don't release them to do what they think they want to do, but continue to be in their lives every day, talking to them, seeing what happened to them today, cooking with them like she said, or watching a movie, playing a game with them. We got to stay into their lives that we may, especially as teenagers, that we may know.
For these teenagers, they going through a lot.
Right, and sometimes they act tough and don't want to be bothered with you, And it might be because they're going through some things. So when you be able to take special time with them in the kitchen or watching a movie or coming in the room with them or something.
Asking how they are, how school, what's
Right.
going on.
That you don't never know how that may help them. I stayed in my kids' business all the time. I stayed in their business all the time. I'm talking about sexual. I'm talking about
You
anything.
told y'all how she just walked that house. You have sex? No?
Right,
All right, you know you can talk to me, right? Let me know.
Anything. I was in their business, So, what you doing? Why you acting like that? What, you don't like me no more or something? I was always in it.
She still do that to this day.
I was always in that business.
But I think it's not, when I say let go, I do want to let y'all know, I don't mean completely let them go, but loosen your rein. It's like loosen it up until you have to let it go. And then they'll come back to you when they're ready, when they full grown, But we have to maintain that relationship with our children, no matter how old they are. Because as you probably know, being as grown as you all out there watching, we're going to always need our parents. We're going to always need our mother. We're going to always need our father. We're going to always need that auntie to talk to vent to get advice. The older we get, they've been there. So we need the tea. What's going on? How you get through this? Because this is on my nerves.
And when you don't have that, especially when you was close to your parents and you don't have them anymore to pick up the phone or to go by there when you going through some things, it's a big loss. It's a big loss. So, if you have your parent in your life, and even if they get on your nerve, give them a call, tell them you love them, check on them, and don't ever do nothing you think that's going to hurt them. Because they're not going to always be there. This is one of the things we've been talking about in this segment. You're not going to always be there. They're not going to always be there. So show them all the love that you can while you got them.
Even if you don't think they were the best parents, they did what they knew how to do.
That's right. They did what they knew how to do or what they could do. Because in your time, you got much more than your parents had at their time. I tell you, I didn't have much. I had to work hard for the little money I did have to pay bills and get them clothes and do the things that we had to do. But they're working, and they can make much, much more than I did at the time that I was working. Because you make more money. They're getting their own businesses. They're starting their own equity, their own money in their lives. And they're learning how to handle it better than we did when we was coming up. So, understand that it's not that your parents didn't want you to have. It's just that they didn't have to give you.
And it's the same thing for you. You're doing the best that you can with what you have. And that's what we're here for on A Mother's Love, is to help us learn a little bit more. If I get some information that you may not have, I want to share that with you. Just like me and my mother collaborate on raising my son. I take what I learned from her, and I put my own little stank on it, and we're going to raise a beautiful being. But I'm not fully doing it alone because she raised me. I'm taking the things that she gave me. And also, still to this day, she here. So she be like, hey, you should probably. I'm like, all right, Mom, note it.
Well, she get mad at me sometimes, too, y'all. But
I'm
she
mad.
don't say
I just be like, note it. Okay.
She don't say it. She don't say it. She be like, yeah, I heard you.
I heard you.
Yeah, I heard you.
And that's the thing about parenting. You can hear them, but you ain't got to take it all.
So, I mean, it is, as we said from the first show to this one, we are not perfect.
No.
And we do not know everything.
But we better together.
That's
Just
right.
like we better together raising these grandbabies. we're better together as a collective of mothers and fathers out here that want to do the best that we can for our children, because that's the only reason why I would assume you're watching this show for an hour. It's because you want to have these conversations. You want to learn some things you didn't know. You want to look at some things from a different perspective. And that's why we're here, and we're going to be here for you every other Wednesday.
But not just for our children, for you.
For you. So again, inbox us if you're unsure about some stuff. If you want to be anonymous with a question or a topic or a subject matter, drop it in the comments. We still watch the comments after the show's over. If you have questions, comments, or concerns, because we are here for you all. This is, as my mother would say, it's not our show. It's our show.
All of our show. So if you have any questions, let us know. We'll be back in 2 weeks to talk to you again and to show all our love and to receive all the love that you have for us. So
It's a give and
again,
get. It's my give and get. I'm giving and getting
is it
love.
time? Did anybody comment or something?
It's time to go ahead, wrap on up. Just some affirmations as far as the comments. People agreeing with what we're saying and such. No questions in the comments. So.
Okay then. Well, I love you guys, and we're not going to prolong this. As I say all the time, love is rooted in happiness, and we root together.
Ooh, come on, them roots and the
And
weave and look at them roots.
love.
Ooh, we all weaved in there.
Yeah, so we love you guys, and we will see you in 2 weeks. See you next time.
See ya.
Bye-bye.